So now I'm at the actual final stages of doing the shaping on this seat. I did have a template I just cut out of a bit of baking paper. So all I did was make a mark at the top, in the center, make a mark at the bottom, put the baking paper on top, and then obviously that black line that I drew on the foam, you could see through the baking paper, and then just copied that all the way around and then flipped it over, mirror image, and obviously just made sure that they were the same. I've lost a bit of baking paper, so I'm going to do it again. So just to help you, if you want to do the same thing, make a mark in the center as close as you can, here and here. Obviously run the baking paper on top, and then just trace around it to your edge, like flip it over. Do the same on the other side, so then you have a top edge to work to. You have a bottom edge already to work to. This one here obviously is never going to change. So if you have a top edge to work to, then you can pretty much get your grinder, sandpaper, or belt sander, or whatever you have, and just work from that top edge that you've drawn down to the bottom edge, and just make sure you've rounded it out a little bit. If you can see there's little imperfections here, don't worry about stuff like that, because the upholstery will pretty much cover that sort of thing. Unless it's big, then you've got nothing to worry about. Like if you've got one side that's not even compared to the other, then you're going to be able to see that. But other than that, if it's just small little stuff like this, just forget about it. Generally speaking, you try and put a little bit of thin foam underneath your upholstery, so that itself will cover up most of the little imperfections anyway. So let's get this baking paper traced out. I might transfer that onto a bit of cardboard, pin the cardboard down to this, so that at least I have something hard to work on, and then go from there. So what I did was I traced it onto a bit of cork flute. This is just some stuff that I had floating around because I didn't have any cardboard. So what I've done is just placed it exactly sort of where I want it, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, that looks a little bit skinny up the top. But it is kind of a little bit of an illusion too, because you've still got the body of this on each side. So looking down on it as a black template, it looks real skinny. I might get a bit of that vinyl which I was doing some practicing sewing on, and just wrap the entire surface here, just to make sure that's not going to look too skinny up top here. Otherwise I might have to redesign the seat. So this is the vinyl that I'll be using. It's got the foam under it, and I've just did some practicing with it, and that is pretty much as wide as it's going to be. And as I was saying before, this is a really massive illusion that makes it look like the seat's real skinny. But as soon as I take that away, that is how wide the seat's going to be. From my finger here and here on each side, that's pushing it as hard as I can. So it's wide enough, and it pretty much matches the tank here. It goes in and then pretty much back out again. So I'm really happy with that. This is just to get the profile of that top section to make it nice and even. So I'm glad I did that, because when I put this on I was like, ooh, what have I done? But it's all good, so I'm happy. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. The shape of this is perfect to what I was looking for and what I sort of had in my head. It's just amazing what you can do with the original parts from Honda. If you have a bit of an imagination, having that shape and the width of it works out really well. I'm just stoked with how it turned out, to be totally honest with you. There's a few more things that I still need to do. Obviously, I've just cut it back to here, as you saw, and I've still got to somehow make something, finish it off, I guess. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that yet. I've just cut it to here because there's 2 mounting holes, and I've stopped there because I might use those or I might not. I don't know yet. Another thing that I still need to work on is this guy here. Obviously, I need to make the quick release mounted up under there somewhere hidden, so it's just a matter of putting your hand up in there and just pull it and your back seat comes out. That's something that I've got to work on. There's heaps, like obviously the upholstery's got to go on, the electrics have got to get put in, so lots of little things still going to happen. So the overall seat, how the shape's going to look, you can sort of see that from there. You can see how this is going to look. There's still going to be a bolt on and off rack that goes over the top of this seat for when we take it motorcycle camping, so I have a luggage rack to put my bag on. So that'll happen as well. I'll show the process on how I'm going to build that. But apart from that, I'm pretty stoked. So I've been toying with a few different taillight ideas. This is a relatively cheap way to go. It's a really cool taillight. It fits with that Scrambler look that I was looking for. However, it's subject to change. If you have any ideas on what taillight you think would look good on this build, leave me a comment or a link to something you've seen. I'd be happy to check it out. It's not quite at that stage yet where I need a taillight, so I've got plenty of time to think of it. Still need to work on the seat upholstery and all sorts of bits and pieces. Like usually the tail light will come towards the end.